What is up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great, lovely Thursday afternoon. I am Liam Murphy. Going to be ripping a BBM4 portfolio sweat. Didn't really have the time this week to put together some charts, but with the BBM4 sweat tool, link to my Discord. If you're not in my Discord, make sure you join. It is free. Thought we just look at my teams here and some things I'm excited about. I don't know, just kind of do this organically. So one of my favorite things to do with this tool is if you search your name, you can see that I'm currently advancing 31 of 150 or 20% of my teams. Pretty fine. 2 out of 12 or 16.666667% is average, if you would. And then in there, you can look up me and then how am I doing with my players. So of my Kincaid teams, I'm currently advancing 22% or 17 of 76. So not a player that's helping me a lot, not a player that's hurting me. And honestly, like Kincaid currently, how he's been in the season, he's not going to hurt you that much. There have been some major busts that went around Kincaid. Pat Fryermuth, just at the position. David Njoku's looking like a worse pick at the position. Dalton Schultz, whatever. Actually, Dalton Schultz hit some touchdowns, so he's doing fine. But currently, he's not like killing you. He's not helping you. You can also remove your username and update it and see that Kincaid on average is being advanced literally average, 16.7%. So I am a little bit better than the average user at advancing Dalton Kincaid compared to people in the contest. And then you can also look like Dalton Kincaid is on the 8th best team in the contest. So the 8th best team in the contest right now is this team who took Dalton Kincaid at the 8-10, which is like pretty rich. Like if we go to me, Dalton Kincaid at 9-5, Dalton Kincaid at 10-3, Dalton Kincaid at 11-4. Obviously, it depends on when you drafted. Dalton Kincaid at 11-1. So I don't know. I think I'll just like Jamar Chase is a guy I have a lot of. So I think last week overall, and if you guys have any questions or anything, you want to see any players, please write in the comments. Helps these streams be more interactive. But Jamar Chase is a guy I took on 27 of my teams. So a little bit, close to 20% almost. 27 divided by 150, 18%. I'm currently advancing 22% of my Jamar Chase teams. And Jamar Chase is currently being advanced 12%. So I'm much better than the average Jamar Chase drafter at advancing him, which is nice, about 10% better. And why I think last week was a good week for me is because I had 20% of Jamar Chase and 20% of Tony Pollard. Both had a bye. And my advance rates went up a little bit, which means that the week was probably a little bit lower scoring on average, which it was, because I have bye guys. No one really smashed. Mostert not going off helps me too, because I don't have a lot of Mostert. And what's cool is you can see like, okay, so this team is 28 points behind. Will it advance? It's got a lot of good pieces. Addison, Kirk, Chase, Waller, Kincaid, Curtis Samuel's fine. Pollard and Jacobs holding it down at the top. QB's a little weak. I don't know if that one will advance. This one, 2.3 points behind. Almost certainly is going to advance because it's 2.3 points behind. Burrow and Prescott both had their bye last week. So I just ate a 0 at quarterback last week. And I ate a 0 at Pollard and Henry. And Chase was on bye. And the team's just kind of loaded. It's got some zeros. So that's exciting. Could you do all of the elite quarterbacks, see how it is doing for you? Yeah. Before I do that, let's look at Tony Pollard, because I'm actually advancing Tony Pollard at a below expectation. So I'm worse than the average Tony Pollard drafter, where now this is like small sample size, 5 out of 31. I'm only advancing 16% of Tony Pollard teams. He is being advanced at a 19%. So I'm a little bit worse than the field at advancing Tony Pollard. Not great. But that can change quickly. Where like this team we already looked at has Chase and Pollard. This team has Chase and Pollard too. It's nice to have that combo quite a bit. Guys, literally teams like 100 points back are live to advance still. So a lot can change over the course of a basketball season. Can this team advance? I don't know. It's got a lot of nice pieces. Myers, Addison, Amon-Ra, Debo's out here. Tight ends, whatever. Running back. Yeah, I mean, this team has Kamara too. It's probably going to advance. Let's check the elite quarterbacks, and then we'll do it for me. And then we'll do some other things other than just sweating some exposures. So Josh Allen advanced at 27%. For me, almost 37%. Again, a small sample size, but I'm about 10% better at Josh Allen. Shout out Patrick Donovan. Patrick Donovan created this tool. Patrick also sent me a list. I meant to say thank you for that, Patrick. He's going to pull this up on next week's Best Ball Mania leaderboard show, but let's just pull it up now. Brother, I barely drafted Jonathan Taylor, so I won't have a lot of data for that. But this is the most popular roster combos in the contest. You can follow Patrick on Twitter at Diablo_II. So CeeDee Lamb to Dak Prescott is the most popular combo. A lot of these are going to be quarterback pass catcher, but not all of them. Joe Burrow to T. Higgins is the second most popular. Mahomes to Kelsey, Goddard to Hurts, Chase to Burrow, Cooper to Watson, Amon-Ra to Goff, Kupp to Stafford, Tua to Tyreek, Watson to Love, Waddle to Tua, Njoku to Watson, Gabe Davis to Allen, Jackson to Flowers, Pierce to Richardson, down bad, Jefferson to Cousins, Kmet to Fields, Everett. So interesting that Jefferson to Cousins is more prevalent than Cousins to Addison, Cousins to Hawk, cheaper pieces. Some non-quarterback pairings. PD, it would be nice if the quarterbacks were all in the same size, so this would easy. Looks like the first one of non-quarterbacks is Chase and Higgins, which is hilarious because those two pieces are super expensive. The only other, every single other one is with a quarterback, which honestly, like I think this list would maybe be a little bit more impactful without the quarterbacks included, because if you drafted, let's just say, Calvin Ridley, and you did not pair him with Trevor Lawrence, you're already a little bit unique. So simply not pairing a pass catcher with a QB, you know that you're not competing with the chalk Lawrence to Ridley. Not that, it also tells me that any QB pass catcher stack, you're not too bothered by it, right? Because there's a bunch of other QB pass catcher stacks. Let's get some of these other questions. I hope we're all ready for Kincaid night. Hell yeah, Rabona. In my Discord, some people, dude, someone's trying to FUD him with Quentin Morris, who's not even going to be active tonight. I really think Kincaid's going to smash. Maybe not tonight, short week for the Bills. I think Dawson Knox being hurt might actually hurt Kincaid a little bit more than help him if he's required to inline tight end and block. It's not what you want him for. We only have data for BBM4. Tolan's trying to invest in you. Shut up, Tolan. Tolan's my friend. I can say that. All the elite QBs, yeah, let's look at that, man. So I'm at 37%. Let's just do me in the elites. Hurts, I'm at 18%. The field is at 26%. So I'm worse than the Hurts drafter. Again, super small samples. Jackson is at 18.5%. I'm at 15%, so marginally worse. And I barely drafted Mahomes. He's at 19%, and I'm advancing 0 of my one team. I also barely drafted Jonathan Taylor. I do have some high-stake hedges. One team. It's currently behind if you're curious about JT, which I'm not here to just look up every single player for you. We have that resource for you if you want to do that. Let's see. I have a question for redraft. JSN, Kincaid, or Dotson at flex in a deep league? Honestly, I think I would do. It depends on the JSN on the Metcalf news. If no Metcalf, kind of have to go JSN. Also, Lockett popped up on the injury report. But I'm playing Kincaid over some serious PPR flex options tonight. Like Kincaid for sure over Dotson, man, in PPR, no doubt. Also, do you think it's really bad to have high exposure rates to players? I have 52% Nico Collins, but like 47% Judy. No, I don't think it's bad. I talk about this a lot. I think it's a risk. You're leaning into risk when you have high exposures. You know, like I do it when I think players are mispriced. Like me doing it with Dalton Kincaid versus me doing it with like Dawson Knox last year. Dawson Knox was more just like I think this guy can score some touchdowns. It's never going to break the season, though. Kincaid, though, legit first-round talent. You know, he could. Like, I think, could Kincaid reel off 6-8 touchdowns in the regular season the rest of the way? Absolutely. Looks like Patrick's going to be in the lab. As a non-elite QB, truther this year hurts so bad how trash yeah, I mean, all the people thinking they were the smartest in the world drafting T. Higgins. Wah, wah, wah. What's up, Vadim? Yes, Morris is hurt. Would awesome to be see percent of teams close to advancing? I mean, bro, you could just, that's like kind of lazy to request that one because you could just manually do that in seconds. You know, I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, and I have counted how many teams I have within like 50 points or whatever. There's some other tools I would like. That is not one of them. Any particular way to attack Buffalo defense? Dude, the Bills defense is awful right now. I'm legit dropping them in the league because they're missing a lot of players. Maybe for the season. So they can't stop the run at all. They can be beat in the air. So you can really do whatever you want against their D right now. Who do I prefer? Pickens or Garrett Wilson? Half point. Man, I'm kind of a Pickens hater, so I'm still going to say Wilson. Your advance rate dropped 8%. Yeah, it's kind of cool to look up like, and I think something that would be cool for Patrick to add if possible is like if he can snapshot and time this, you know, like can you give us the option to go look back at week 5, week 4, week 3? Because otherwise I need to pull, or this will be lost to the sands of time. Like Justin Jefferson's advance rate was 15.5% week 7. And I want to see how much it goes down each week, you know, without him playing. And I want to see how Jamar Chase goes up after the bye, you know, so you could just see like historically, like, okay, when your players hit the bye, how much does your advance rate drop on average? Stuff like that. You still think elite quarterback fade looks good? No, I think it was dumb in half-point PPR. I've said it many times. Quarterbacks contribute a higher percentage to your roster. And there's so many ways you can lose to elite QB. One is they have a great regular season. Two is if any of them drop 40 in a playoff week and the field gets outscored by 20, you need that elite quarterback usually. You can also build more super teams. Patrick, bro, you add whatever tools you want. You already gave us everything we need. So anything you add on top is bonus. Do not kill yourself adding anything else. And in the manualness is kind of nice. Like I could pull that and not share if it really felt like it. Am I starting him over guys like Sutton and Downs and FFPC with the Titan Premium? Titan Premium, man, like really, really swaps that. Over Sutton, no doubt, because Sutton's been sun running touchdowns. Downs has a good matchup for him against the Saints who get beat in the slot. But yeah, I probably would, honestly. The elite wide receivers are mostly going to end up with 1,110. I don't know. Like I'm with you a little bit where I don't think I think Ridley will bounce back. I think Devonta Smith will bounce back. I don't think T. Higgins has any shot of returning 2-3 turn value. I also think that it's possible this is not just a small sample thing, and that the NFL, with the prevalent of how defensive have changed, cover two a little bit more, you might just need to be a little bit more of an alpha to succeed in today's climate. I've been seeing some nice breakdowns of how pass catchers perform in cover two versus cover one. This is referencing to the safety. Cover two means two safeties deep. Cover one means there's only one. And basically, the secondary guys do a lot better in cover two. So when defenses are just trying to take away the deep shot, the secondary wideouts do better because they can find the soft spot in the zone. But when it's cover one, the alphas are getting their target share. So that's the games where like Diggs is smashing, AJ Brown smashing. The alphas can smash against cover two too, but like the secondary guys have like no shot in cover one usually. What kind of bump, if any, to the Arizona offense are you expecting when Kyler's back? I mean, a huge bump. Most of the bump could be to Kyler himself. We have to admit that. Hollywood Brown, like a lot of his targets go from prairie yards to actually like reasonably strong. James Conner's still out. I think a really solid bump. It's hard to put a percentage on it. I mean, you're just coping if you said you would rather have T. Higgins than Hurts, Allen, or Lamar. I'm not I still think it's hard for Mahomes to return value. Like any week that Mahomes is going to throw for 500 yards in a game, God bless you, man. It's amazing, Feedback on your team. All right, Francisco, we'll do this once. Cisco Kid, Lamar and CJ Stroud, Hawkinson and Freiermuth, Tyreek Keenan, Addison, Gabe, OBJ, Nico, Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, Saquon, James Cook, Elijah Mitchell, Raheem Mostert, Travion, Kyron. It's possible the Miami pieces start to nosedive. So I said this yesterday where fantasy football people just like love to panic in general, and there's a lot of people who have like analysis paralysis, but Tua said basically like he was asked a question, which I don't know how leading this question was, but the question was like, hey, it was something like, it was about Tyreek getting back, because Tyreek did not practice yesterday. Now, it's really common for veterans across the league to get rest on a Wednesday. Keep that in mind. Hill also supposedly has a hip injury. And Tua said basically like, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting Tyreek back down the line. Now, this could just be him being annoying or coached to be annoying because NFL teams love to keep info close to the vest. It's like, bro, no one is preparing for you as if Tyreek Hill is not playing, period. So you can say that, but the Patriots are going to be like, all right, guys, we don't have to prepare for Tyreek Hill this week until he gets ruled out, period. So I would not panic on Tyreek himself unless he doesn't practice by Friday. Then it's concerning. But looking at their schedule, I think the Miami pieces could set up to be a trap, particularly the passing game. Without Tyreek, Miami could just like fall apart because he does so much for that team. Defenses having to account for that speed just changes the game. But in the playoffs, this is not a good schedule. Jets, Cowboys, Ravens. Honestly, could not draw up a worse schedule. Right? Cowboys D is a little bit more hurt now. Jets D is very legit. Ravens D is very legit. So Miami is drawing very live to the year I won BBM2. Like this was the Bucs. The Bucs smashed the regular season, which the Dolphins already have. But in week 16, they played the Saints, and I didn't have any Tampa. And they fell on their face against the Saints D. And so they went from like mega chalk to low owned in the finals. And then actually Brady smashed the Jets that week 17, but no one had him. T versus 2-3 turn Cup, dead. I mean, look, if Cup was at it's honestly a little annoying that Cup free fell at the end of the draft was like I would have held the line. And I can't control that whatever third round Cup exists. Any chance of some early round flute? Man, I'm not seeing my flute right now. We got missing flute. I don't know what to say. I was debating doing a sweat video for tonight because the Bills play tonight, if you don't know, versus Tampa. I was debating watching with you guys, but I don't think I'm gonna do it tonight. Maybe on a non-Thursday night. If the game was in Tampa, I would for sure be going. But it's in Buffalo. Is elite QB really that good in best ball? I think it is, man. I don't know. There's debates about where it's more impactful in redraft versus best ball. I mean, this is part of the benefit. He's only had one 30-point whole year. With the Bills particularly, it sounds like he might start running again, which is like exciting. Mick Horter. These are some of the worst names. Where's our guy Wallace Balls? Other tools you can do here. You can look at roster combos, user exposures. User exposure one is just, it's kind of duped elsewhere, but let's see. Kirk is carrying a lot of my teams. Let's just go through my exposures and either deem them dead or not. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it was obviously not good for the Bills to lose to the Pats, but it could be a blessing in disguise. You should join ship chasing tonight. That's part of the reason I don't want to do the sweat because I don't want to cramp on my friend's stream there, pull viewers from them. But I already was on their Thursday night sweat, so I think they're doing one guest would be normal. Why is T now trash? I mean, dude, he could be injured, but a lot of the advanced stats are #bad for him. Let's pull up my Discord. Gonna be excited to see how this these analytics change over time. Come on, internet, load. Terrell throwing flame in the chat. Look, brother, we all have bad takes. Let's pull up the Fantasy Life game log, and let's pull up the ESPN analytics. I don't think it's a guarantee that Higgins just goes back to normal, man. Like, Chase's alphaness over T can grow over time. That can for sure happen. You know, like the gap between them can grow because Jamar Chase is obviously just a much better wideout. Come on, internet. Let's close the Twitter. Taking too much. If you guys didn't hear about the Underdog Dog Bowl rakeback they're running, basically, if you play the Dog Bowl and you finish top 50%, you get your money back. So it helps in the winner take all. Go to wide receiver. Go to Bengals. I mean, I've been a T hater. I'm not that impressed with his talent. I drafted 6% T. So I was pretty down on him already, notably. In the wide receiver, if we sort by the worst in the league, or this is actually all pass catchers, tight end included. Let's find the boy T. T is sandwiched between Brandon Cooks, Sky Moore, Devonta Parker, Atwell, Gallup, Mingo, JSN. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not deeming T dead or anything without, obviously, with the context of Joe Burrow's calf, the team's coming off bye. But this is hashtag not great, you know? I don't love that Calvin Ridley's on this so low down either. Where's T getting dinged for? He's actually okay and open. He's doing bad at catch. He's actually the worst in catch. What does catch mean? The ability to catch the ball? Let's read the glossary. Generating, oh, it's yak. Is it? No, this is yak. So what is catch versus yak? Catch score. Open score, catch score, and yak score plus an overall. Okay. Yak score looks at the tracking data, blah, blah, blah. Open score. How does the catch score work? The assessment. Given the array of all 22 players' positions, directions, and speeds, the model estimates the probability of a completion. If a completion occurs, the receiver is credited with the marginal difference. For example, if the tracking data indicates a pass will be completed 75% of the time, and the receiver actually catches the pass, he is credited with plus 0.25. If he does not, he is debited. So basically, this is like, do you catch the ball or do you drop the ball? And this is hashtag not good for T. Higgins. You can't be a guy who has, I mean, this is not great for Olave either. There's some good wideouts on this list, is at least good news. The Yak Gods, Moore, Debo, Nico, kind of surprising. Kendrick, Rashee Rice, AJ Brown, Mike. Mike Williams being good at Yak, man. And Mike Williams would have crushed. The bad Yak guys, this makes sense. Tyler Lockett's a catch and fall. Kirk slot. Some of these guys are slot. These guys are always open. Ayuk, Dell, Keenan, Garrett Wilson. Hard to say if A-Dot's playing a role here. Zay Flowers, Myers, you know, like some slot guys. Rarely open. Juju, Pierce, Atwell, Parker, Lazard, Marshall, Slayton, Mingo. You know, like who your quarterback matters for some of this. Like Tutu Atwell is rarely open, but he's got a quarterback who can throw a dime. Juju Smith, Juju's rarely open, and his quarterback is not good. So we try to cringe around here, Gerard. All right, I missed a lot of comments here. What happened to the flute? I don't know, man. What happened to the flute? Shit gets moved to my office all the time. Yes, Brees Hall, man, he's gonna smash. Dude, I don't see Higgins getting traded at the trade deadline. I said this in my Discord, but I want to remind people here. Any calculation of a trade at the trade deadline, you have to consider what the team would get in comp picks next year. So this usually only matters for bad teams or teams that have a history of getting comp picks like the Ravens, where basically if a team has a net loss of free agents at over a year, they're drawing live to get a comp pick, depending on how much their free agents sign for in money with other teams. So let's pretend that the Bengals are going to rebuild next year. And T. Higgins signs with another team for a healthy contract. And the Bengals would get a third-round pick because of the comp pick formula. Well, then they'd be dumb to accept a third-round pick mid-season for the same player. Yes, the comp pick would be the next year versus the upcoming year if you really want a year forward, but you got to keep the comp pick in mind. It's not perfect for the Bengals because they don't seem like they'd be rebuilding, but like the Panthers selling Brian Burns, that's one as well. JSN season is here. Yeah, man. Like some of the players, I would not care about their analytics as much because it could just be the role they're being forced to play. Like Ridley's being forced to play the Zay Jones role is the thought. Yeah, man. T is like Mike Williams and Gabe Davis. So, sure. Do those metrics take into account catchable targets? Man, you saw how my internet struggled to read about it. You can read about that on your own. But the overall top wideouts we'll do it by each position. Top 10 in the league. AJ Brown, Ayuk, Moore, Dell, Nico, #Houston, CeeDee Lamb, Adam Thielen, fuck me, man. Keenan, Jamar Chase, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Kendrick Bourne, Garrett Wilson. All right, we'll give the top 15. Tyreek and Zay Flowers. I talked to my friend Yoda Cal about Tyreek. Yoda, one of the top DFS players in the world. I said, yo, man, what do you think about Tyreek being so far down? He said it makes sense to him, which has not been the public discourse. He says that Tua plus the scheme is doing a lot of lifting. I'm going to give Tyreek credit too, but makes sense. Tight end. Oh, let's do the worst too by each position. The worst: Juju, Alec Pierce, Terrace Marshall, Michael Gallup, Mingo, Devontae Parker, T. Higgins, Atwell, JSN, Brandon Cooks, Sky Moore, DJ Chark, Calvin Ridley, Darius Slay, and Jahan Dotson. Honestly, a lot of these names make sense. Some I'm leaving the light on for. T, Tutu, JSN, Ridley. Those who it's Jover for: Devontae Parker, Alec Pierce, Juju, DJ, like all these guys it's Jover for. All right, let's move on to tight end. The top tight ends in the league: Kelsey, Kittle, Kincaid. Let's go. Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert, Gerald Everett, Logan Thomas, Dalton Schultz, Jonas Smith, Conklin, Kmet, Pitts. The worst: Higbee, Hunter Henry, Chig, Knox, Waller, Hawk, Ertz, Granson, Hurst, Gesicki, Otten, Laporta, Musgrave, Pitts. Kmet. So some double counting here. You need a large enough sample to qualify for this, and this is why ESPN just released it this week. They didn't have enough data. But I'm looking forward to seeing how this changes week to week as they get more data. I would not, this is just part of the process of assessing a player. It's not everything. And let's look at running back. This is receiving metrics for running backs, I believe, but the top in the game. Pirine, CMC, White, Jacobs, Warren, Cook, Gibson, Ford, Herbert, Mostert, Chua Hubbard, Pacheco, Bijan, Moss, Kamara. Kamara's always open, but he's kind of cooked in the yard after catch department. Whereas Pirine's killing it in Yak. I mean, but these are like super small sample for him. The worst. This is so funny, man. Jahmyr Gibbs, the worst pass catching running back in the league. Miles Sanders, Madison, Javonte, Kyron, Ramondre Swift, Etienne, Pollard, Spears, Mixon, Barkley, Kamara, Moss, Bijan. I mean, so many dudes who we think as pass catchers on this list. Gibbs, Ramondre, Swift, Etienne, Pollard, Saquon, Kamara, like Miles Sanders makes sense. Sure. But Gibbs? Yeah, man, I fell into the Dotson trap late too. He won me some tournaments last year, so it was a little bit of loyalty. I like the comparison tool. Let's compare the guys that disappointed in that range. So T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, Ridley, Metcalf. Who else was in that range, guys? Help me out with the wideout names. Waddle. Did you fade Ramondre? Unfortunately, no, man. I faded every Patriot except Ramondre. And I actually viewed Ramondre and Etienne as a tie. But unfortunately, I just ranked Ramondre one pick ahead and did not randomize that enough. Olave, thank you. No, I was forgetting a guy. All right, so it's saying that Metcalf is the best overall because he has the highest percent of catchable targets. His ADOT is the deepest. And I don't really know what PPR and PPR rank means on this site, to be honest with you. But let's take out Metcalf. Who's the next best? It's got Olave as the next best. So we'll just do this by process of elimination. Olave is the next best because it likes that he has 26% of the targets. His ADOT, again, he's got a lot of the air yards. He's got a lot of third and fourth down targets. And again, the PPR ranking. Let's get rid of Olave. Waddle is the next best. Target per route run, targets, catchable targets, play action targets, which are usually more valuable, PPR and PPR rank. The next best. All right, guys, put your votes in. Who's worse, Ridley or Higgins? Smith has got him on routes, targets, catchable targets. It's not going to be surprising to me if Smith pops up for a huge spike week, but the Higgins ones, man, I don't know. I think it's going to have Ridley better, and it does. Okay. Mike is the best. I always like Spider-Man meme these three guys because they kind of are the same dude. Some of them are more talented, like Mike's more talented. But and their offensive situations are not the same. Whereas in the past, Josh has ran in more touchdowns, so it's going to take some from Gabe, but this is down bad for T, man. Gabe has higher routes, a lower target per route run, a lower targets overall, which makes sense. His catchable targets are 72%. So this we would call the injured Burrow effect. Only 54% of Higgins' catchable targets have been catchable, compared to 72% for Gabe with a 15.52 ADOT. Insane. T's got him on air yards, end zone targets, percent of end zone targets, and third and fourth down. Gabe's got him on play action, which Burrow can't do play action when he's hurt. So it's not Jover for T, but it's not great. All right, let's go back and looking at this. 0 slows, just as God intended. Yeah, I mean, Calvin Ridley is actually being targeted. I mean, I just wish that if NFL opposing teams viewed Calvin Ridley like people talk about him, why is Marshawn Lattimore shadowing him? Why is AJ Terrell shadowing him? They're putting their top corner on him. Is he winning against them? No, but again, that could be scheme. Check Pat. No, we're not. We're not here to just look at. We're not here to neg someone's exposures. But we will look at Brees Hall. I'm only advancing 2 of my Brees teams. Got him in 16 out of 150, a little over 10%, 11. Brees Hall is advancing at 16%. Again, super small sample for any of my portfolio, but my Brees teams that got a shot, this one, CMC, Brees, and Mostert, like, how is this not advancing? Oh, whiteout. Ridley, Higgins, Kirk, Gabe, Lockett, Boyd. Down bad. No, man, there's no site like this for DK. Does not exist. I mean, in the past, I've emailed DK. They haven't even had a record of a draft. I was like, hey, I won 2 of your guys' best ball contests. Do you have the draft board by any chance? They were like, no, we don't keep record of that. So they don't have a record of that. I don't know how you expect to look up their teams. It's also meaningless for DK a little bit. Yes, for research, it's cool. For sweating, it's cool. But there's no leaderboard. Of course, you want some low advance rate guys with spike week capabilities. I can also tell you, though, T. Higgins, for example, could advance at 3%, maybe 5%. But if he scores 40 week 15 of the playoffs, he could be 40% owned. So what your advance rate is before the playoffs matters, but what you do in the playoffs can really, really matter, because if 100% of T. Higgins teams advance to week 16, he's going to be chalk. Who are some low advance rate guys I'm excited to advance right now, if I can? Let's check on Cup, because he's a low advance rate guy. I didn't get as much Cup. Honestly, a lot of this has to do, though, with when I drafted, A, and B, where I drafted, because I just did not get a lot of pick 4, 5, 6. Really, no, 3, 4, 5. I didn't get a lot of picks 3, 4, 5. I ran okay at 1, okay at 2, a lot on the back end. So many on the back end. Yeah, I don't know, Nick. They could have been lying to me too, man. Cup, I'm not advancing any Cup teams. Some close. Guys, shout out some low advance rate players you're curious about. That we'd be excited about, to be like, yes, I have this team in. Kelsey. I only drafted 2 Kelsey teams. I also maybe full faded Eckler. I don't know. I just took Diggs over Kelsey and Eckler, Diggs was my 106, which is looking like a smash. Like, there's so much the best ball. Like, how you play the first round is part of it. And I think I played the first round quite well. I'm not going to do it today, but on another stream I can pull up. Justin and I have a 5K side bet for BBM. I don't think it's perfect to capture like who played the contest the best. I think it's overweighted for advance rates because it double counts your teams on the leaderboard. But Justin's got a little edge on me, but I think I got a decent chance at overtaking him because of who we took in the first and second round. I also have a ton of Kyron Williams, who I need to come back. JT, I didn't draft Jonathan Taylor at all. One team. Yeah, Christian Watson and Mike Williams. I'm so happy that Christian Watson is not out for the year, man. Because my Mike Williams teams, I had 29 Mike Williams teams and 26 Watson teams. Some good teams with him on it. Some bad teams. Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to be stoked for Christian Watson against the Vikings if I get him there and he's healthy. Tank Dell. Let's see. I only drafted Tank Dell early. I also stopped drafting Nico Collins when he got pretty expensive, but luckily I have a lot of cheap Nico. So it's like, I also have like plenty of Gibbs, but all my Gibbs teams were early. You know, I didn't take as much Gibbs in the 3rd and 4th round. Mingo will do what Thielen is doing down the stretch, bro. That is a big leap. I would like that, but probably not. Judy, I did not fade Judy because I did not draft Judy because I know ball. All these Judy teams are when he was like a 6th round pick. But yeah, I mean, I don't draft the Broncos a lot at all. Judy, 5. Sutton. I just thought it was so clear, like Russ is done. Russell, 2. The cheaper they were, I drafted more. Dulcich, 7. Javonte, 3 teams. Which Javante's actually looking good now. Did you draft Chubb? No, not a lot. 6 teams. You have 20% Kyle Phillips and you're low-key excited about it? Hey, man, I'd be excited about any. I mean, you got major leverage. I did not get on the Kyle Phillips train. He was drafted in 821 teams, so not a lot. He's advancing 11%. Let's look at the roster combos. This is always fun. AJ Brown and Diggs. Like, how many lucky people got this combo? 631 teams. Dude, someone got that 4 times. That's so lucky. I didn't get a single AJ Brown and Diggs. I got 1 Diggs and Bijan. That was like my rarest combo, I want to say. No one got that more than twice, and I am one of 200. Kincaid and Kelsey. Parker knows ball, dude. 29 teams like that. I'm still, the reason why I faded Kelsey is the dude's 34. So if I lose to a 34-year-old, good game. And the opportunity cost for that tight end is quite high. All right, who has the most? Hawkinson and AJ Brown teams. I have 6 showing up there. How about Diggs? Again, 6 showing up there. If we add Kincaid. Boom. The most Hawk, Diggs, Kincaid teams in the contest. So let me tell you how it goes. Diggs, 35 against the Patriots. Diggs against the Patriots, man. This past week, like in another universe, he catches that deep bomb. He catches the 3 touchdowns. He could have had such a big day. But these guys go off against the respective teams. We take it down. That's the hope. Cooper Kupp. Hawk might be hurt bad. I don't think Hawk, when you go back and finish the game, you're not hurt bad. Will he maybe sit out a week? Sure. But his like ankle got rolled up on twice and he finished the game. So I don't think he's hurt that much. What do you want me to check about Cooper Kupp? Who has the most cup? These guys. Hillo, friend, Winky. Know him. I've seen this name. Who got the most, like, Kupp and Tyreek? So that late combo. These guys. I don't like that these teams exist. Who has the most Kupp CMC? Basically, I just have to like anti-sweat Kupp because I didn't draft in BBM when you could get it in DK. My DraftKings teams are out advancing my underdog teams. I'm advancing 40 out of 150 on DraftKings, and which is 26%, 27%, so about 7% better. But how my DraftKings teams are probably not very correlated because I drafted pretty much like almost all 150 the last day or two of the contest, and I drafted like 10 or so at a time on my phone. Sometimes 20. Literally like multi-tabling 20 and just like starring players. So I probably didn't like, unfortunately, Rashad Penny is killing me at the moment. I got a lot of Rashad Penny. He's like one of the guys who, I mean, it was a directionally good bet, and I still think Penny could come back, but he's not given anything to these 26 teams. I forgot what I was saying. Check how Hayden Winks did. I trusted him a lot. Run a report. Well, that's bad news for you, man. Underdog employees are not allowed to play in Best Ball Mania 4. They can only play in an employee contest. But Hayden is a trustworthy guy. He does a lot of great research. What's that say on your cap? Marathon Boat Center. Dude, it's not over for Penny. This is literally what happened to Penny before. He sat out all year, injured. Came back and smashed. I'm not convinced Penny's injury that's happening right now, and he's not like actively injured. He's just recovering from past year's injury. I'm not convinced that is going to be the full year. It might just be until November, December. Najee, I did not draft a lot of, thankfully. 2 teams. And on one of them, I added Warren on it. Did I do it on the other one? That'd be funny if I did. Yeah. But both Najee teams, I knew at least to handcuff them. This is a good team, man. How is this not advancing? Nico, Tyreek, Kirk, all great. Gabe Davis, given a lot of weeks. Deontay was injured. Bateman and OBJ, total zeros. Andrews, good. Fant, 0. Lamar, good. Pickett, no. Najee, no. Penny, no. Gibson, no. Warren's fine. Brown, no. Wilson, it's been a 0. Gainwell's been a 0. So, okay, so it's getting killed at running back. These teams might advance, though. Need Kyron to just come back. I have so much Kyron. On the Kincaid week, it felt good getting 11 points, man. It felt good just because I believed in him, and I saw, like, this is what I saw coming. And also, on certain teams, players are just going to be brought along slowly. So when, like, real fantasy football analysts are like, oh, it's over after 5 games for a rookie, it's just like, do you guys, like, not play fantasy football the past couple of years? Who has the most Chan and yeah, Mostert is a miss for me. Like a directionally good bet. I only drafted him 7 times, and of those 7, I'm advancing 5. Jeff Wilson, I drafted 17 times, and Chan, I drafted 13 times. Chan is the one I would still want the most. What's my lowest scoring team? 604 points. Honestly, and the team does not look like this looks like a fine team. Bijan anchor, enough wide receivers, Darren Waller, – yeah. So Bro, the best ones right here, Gerard or Jared. You're looking at them. Small audience, so it's not like my takes are going to be widely accepted. No. You've got the highest Mostert exposure. I've already posted the Mostert and Achane one. But you go to roster combos, Mostert's like ran really good. It's B Sand Dark. So if that's you, BKS. It's got 50%. Way to go, man. You out there. Let's look at your B Sand Dark. Let's look at your how am I spelling that? B Sand. Oh, I added an A. B Sand Dark. Let's see. 48%. Obviously because of Mostert. B Sandark. Let's look at how your other guys are helping you. Mostert, help. Daniel Jones, no. Walker, help. Wandale, he's out there. That's a good one. He's not helping you. Komet, he had some weeks, but I would not like this one. Slayton, I'm with you, a Slayton man, but he's whatever. Flowers is fine. He's not like a killer and half point. Sky Moore, no. I knew ball. I didn't draft Sky. Mike Evans is crushing it. Metcalf, better days ahead. Pittman, fine. Pickens is doing good. Herbert, obviously hurt. Jamal, no. Likely, no. Chark, no. Campbell, no. Wilson, it's been a disappointment, but that was Rodgers, obviously. I think Wilson would have smashed. Waller is actually doing good now. Bateman, no. Hyatt, no. Are we still live? My computer crashed. Are you guys hearing me? Let me know. All right. I don't know if it was the plugin. Hopefully Patrick's not downloading viruses directly to my computer. Jokes, Patrick. Yeah, it just crashed. I don't know. I couldn't handle all the. But what I wanted to say about B Sandark's exposures is, but there, some massive hits, but also like plenty of picks who are not carrying you. Is the running backs really is what's carrying him. Like Kamara, ETN, AJ Brown's carrying you. Brees is going to start. So great exposures, B Sand. Cup. Who knows? Like anyone who drafted the last week, it would have been easy to get a lot of Cup. So when you draft matters a lot for a contest like this. And like is what happened to Cup mean, every year we should draft the last 2 days of the contest because a first round pick will get hurt and then we'll get him in the 7th round? No, definitely not, right? Like that's not how it works. Let's check out my first round exposures. How do we do this? So Jefferson, I got in 8 teams, and I didn't really start drafting Jefferson until Burrow hurt his calf. He's got a chance. So Jefferson, I'm advancing 0 teams. Jamar Chase, advancing 22% or 6 teams. Tyreek, 8 of 12. Christian McCaffrey, 3 of 9. Cup, 0 of 7. Diggs, 8 of 29. I think this number should go up. A.J. Brown. The fact that like Diggs and Brown are a tie is what's making neither of them be an ultra smash at the moment. And also that they had to compete with Tyreek and CMC, obviously. A.J. Brown, 5 of 21. Amon-Ra, 4 of 22. Devontae Adams, 0 of 1. Bijan, 0 of 14. CeeDee Lamb, 1 of 10. Garrett Wilson, 1 of 13. Pollard, 5 of 31. Saquon, 3 of 14. In general, bro, did you study data science? I got to pick a major soon. I think data science would be super useful for this stuff. Yeah, man, I think that's a great career to go into. I studied economics, so I don't have the ability to do what Patrick did here. I'm sure I could go to school for coding and whatnot. I did, with economics, I ran regression analysis. I ran some other types of analysis. So yeah, a little bit of a data background. My senior year, I tried to predict the success of wide receivers in the NFL. I also tried to recruit some nerds to like build an algorithm to tackle DraftKings back then. I didn't do anything with it, and then ended up winning basically like a hand build contest. So it's pretty funny. We'll do a little bit more before we get out of here. Do we have any teams with unique combos from early drafts? Yeah, like if you look like I'm sure Jamar Chase and Pollard, I have some of the most of those. I have 8 teams like that. I'm only advancing 1, but 2 teams like less than 30. They both had their bye last week. Another, these teams, like even a team 73 points back, like can this team advance? Let's look. So it needs Achane pretty much. Wide receivers are fine. 16th round Laporta. I got a lot of cheap Laporta, which is nice. Not as much cheap Kincaid because I would reach on him. Yeah, no, I actually went to school for engineering, and then I had a really bad teacher. But I would have loved engineering as a job too. Maybe I'll go back to it. Chubb, Pollard, and Chase, you could only get this at the start of the contest. So this is a unique combo. Obviously useless with Pollard. I mean, with Chubb, though. How should you value Tajay if Henry gets traded? Very strong, man, because Tajay looks good. The offense sucks, but, like, he's a good guy. Good pick there. My Tajay teams. I'm looking forward to launching my site, and it's going to be behind a paywall. It's not going to be expensive, but it's going to have a lot of research about how to be better for next year. I've already been thinking a lot about how to improve, and that's, look, I've won three best ball tournaments, always trying to improve, Tajay Spears, I got 18%. Or no, I'm advancing 18%. I took 22 teams, which is like 15% or so. Pollard seems like his juice was drained. Yeah, man, it's a mixture of things for me. I think it was the play calling's been awful, where it's been a lot of just like runs up the middle, and he's a guy that succeeds in space. So like crack tosses and like screens and like little slants and whatnot. So that has been bad. You also have to wonder, he broke his leg last year. Like, how much of the juice has been zapped? Like, is it that? Or is it continuous runs up the middle and a higher workload? It's so hard to say, All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed sweating my portfolio. Don't think I have much else to say. Excited for week 8 to kick off. The Buffalo Bills play on week 8. Let's look at my Bills exposures before we get out of here. Josh, I got 29 Josh teams. Diggs, 29 Diggs teams. A little synergy there. Kincaid, 76 Kincaid teams. Gabe Davis, 57 Gabe Davis teams, one of the most in the contest. Who obviously Addison looks like a bigger hit than Gabe, but Gabe's fine. Hardy, 18 Hardy teams. James Cook, 20 James Cook teams. Damian, 25 teams. Unfortunately, he's hurt, obviously. I don't think I drafted any Latavius in this. Knox, 19 Knox teams. Sherfield, 3. Shakir, 10. Who I think Shakir has some life now. How's my Kyler teams doing? I didn't draft a lot of Kyler. 5 teams. This is a 4 QB team with them. All right, guys. I hope you like this impromptu video. I'll probably do another one next week, but I'll pull some charts with my advance rates by month and whatnot. Hope everyone has some great luck today. I'll be back tomorrow with the Underdog Pick'em show I do. Last week, man, I bet the under on the Gibbs touchdown prop, and the lines were down 35-0, and Gibbs got a garbage time touchdown. Man, that's RIP. But all right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Hit the like. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not. Join the Discord. Link to do so was in the chat before. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace.